For me, it's a very important part of connecting to people. This building, as I observe it, a lot of people stop and take photo, and that's a wonderful thing that I suppose this particular precinct is start to transform. It's okay to use brick, you know. You don't have to be all the time the cutting edge. You don't have to do crazy stuff to attract people. You know, you can be just as natural as you can be and do something that is as influential and impactful to the communities. So we use about 300,000 plus bricks, and then we built brick by brick by brick. So it's very much curated, but crafted by the hands of builders. In other words, this is very much humanizing architecture. This materiality in the way we built it is very much a human touch, and this was very important to articulate in such a way that the intricacy of the arches that relates to the heritage building surrounding, and but not just the arches, it steps in. So almost to create the illusion that yes, it's the heavy brick masonry character podium, but somehow looks light. The color-wise, recently I flew over the center of Australia, which is this beautiful sacred ground of Uluru. And I was struck by the color, this earthy, red earth. It's just emotionally, instantly engaging. And interesting enough that this brick podium has that quality, almost as if this podium arises from the Mother Earth of Australia and then, come to the ground and keep rising. It's very simple. When you go to the top of building, I suppose any building in the city, every building looks flat. And not just a flat experience, but you cannot utilize this amazing space that's available to us. So I looked at this as an opportunity to open up a rooftop. But also there's a provision called architectural feature. We sort of read the line in between and push the height limit to add this crown feature that is very much, I suppose, the curvilinear, just like the landscape, undulating Sydney harbours and, characterize, the nature of Sydney, but represent it in a sort of architectural vertical form. Idea of living longer life is about interaction. They put a lot of emphasis on the social interactions. So at the architectural levels, I believe that we need to create all these places that people can come and socialize. So when you go in very narrow spaces, it almost makes you want to interact with other people, makes you want to interact with architecture. And so that's what we've done in the podium spaces. Reached 10th anniversary this year actually, based in Sydney, and we love Australian culture, especially the nature, connect to the environment that's pretty much celebrating our lifestyle. So I opened the office wanting to represent that through architectural or interior design. A lot of people want to fit into box. We want to think outside the box. So my practice, as people know, our work becomes point of difference within the context where every city starts to look the same. We want to challenge that. I remember when I lived in New York City, it was my dream. Once I got to Manhattan, it became a nightmare. I hated living in between building concrete jungles. Then I discovered Central Park, which was really about, I suppose, a breathing space to people that are living, having the busy day lifestyle. So I questioned, well, okay, if not the building, how can we integrate, the nature, the landscape into architecture? And it's not just looking at the vertical form, but some way that more experiential, more horizontal. I think that artisan and handmade, crafted approach to design is very much dying traditions. And my Japanese heritage, I look to Kyoto, for example. There's a lot of beautiful craftsmanship that pretty much built the whole entire city in the past. Now all the modernized materialities, all the development are destroying, just as if the nature was destroyed by, I suppose, part civilizing or developing force. And we are at the stage we need to question that balance. I believe the mixed use is a good direction. I call it city within cities. So you're almost building this small city within a big city. Idea of this is really to interact. Traditionally speaking, all the private development tend to have the enclosure, tend to have the kind of isolation with fencing everywhere to create the exclusivity. What we want to do is the opposite. We want to open inside out. We want to open up everywhere. We want to make it permeable. So I think to me, sort of creating the sense of luxury or creating this internal space is about creating a breathing space for people. This breathing space is where people come together and then, to meet, converse, or ponder, contemplate, meditate, whatever it is, makes our life richer.